you to see a quick snapshot of everything going on in the district. This is my fourth back to school with the Anchorage School District, and I think that this is one of the best starts yet. I'm blessed to be surrounded by wonderful colleagues here at this dais and also wonderful staff members and families who continue to choose ASD. So I want to walk us through the first few days through my perspective, through some of my visits and my reflections. And you'll notice the first picture. First of all, we have school buses, and that is not lost on me because it was 3 years ago that not just ASD, but Matsu and a lot of other folks were having issues with buses. And I want to thank the community for coming together. I want to thank the board for allowing us 3 years ago to take some action that has put us in a much better position. So not only are buses back, they are bigger and better than ever. Not the buses themselves, but we've installed this wonderful tool called Stop Finder. So we released that to the public recently. We've had thousands of parents already sign up to join. If you don't know what Stop Finder is, it's a really cool tool that allows parents to know where their bus is when it picks up and drops off their student. Really neat. We've really taken it to the next level. So I'm really thankful for Jim Anderson's team and all of our parents that trust our wonderful transportation professionals through summer, through winter, to make sure our students get to school in a good state of mind. So thank you to our transportation professionals too. Let's go ahead and move on. So one of the first schools I visited was actually Cassoon Elementary School. And what you'll see in this picture is one of the project managers explaining to me the rollout of our secure safety vestibules throughout the district. So we've installed dozens throughout our elementary schools over the years, and this is a new one that's good to go at Cassoon Elementary School. And this is only possible due to the support of the Anchorage community. This past April, we passed a $62 million bond, and we were very fortunate to have another bond the year before that. And this is what it's going towards. Those funds are going towards upgrading the security of our schools. We've had situations where secure vestibules have saved lives in this district, and I want to make sure that they're in as many elementary schools as possible moving forward. So the work continues. In fact, I think this particular bond will fund projects at Scenic Park, Baxter, and Ravenwood into next year. So very soon we'll have vestibules in all the elementary schools. Now, that said, when it comes to safety and security, you have to have a lot of tools in the toolbox. Secure safety vestibules are one tool in the toolbox, but I also want to remind the public that ASD recently moved to a standardized visitor management system. That's really important because one, we make sure that all of our visitors are centrally screened and background checked, and two, we can look at reports across the district. And this is something that we weren't able to do 3 years ago, but we're able to do today. So, and then in addition to the secure vestibules and the visitor management, because of our successful bond propositions, we now have upgrades to various cameras and other security features such as access management throughout the district. And it's really putting us on the cutting edge of where we need to be when it comes to safety in our schools. Training is also key, right? We can't anticipate every single scenario that happens in a school situation, but I'm really thankful that through Jim Anderson's leadership, we've had one of the first interagency trainings on emergency response that we've had in a very long time, at least 5+ years. And I mean, this is ASD with the city, with all the emergency management personnel, and they are literally walking through some of the worst scenarios that can ever happen in a school. And I'm very thankful that they're having those difficult conversations because all of these tools and more is what's helping us make our schools as safe as possible. Something you might have also read is that we have a mobile metal detector program. This is meant to be proactive. Let's say that a school is alerted about a potential threat the next day. A mobile metal detector means that we're able to deploy resources to prevent incidents from happening in our schools. They're not permanently affixed to any school. Once the situation's cleared, we can move the metal detectors on to a different location. But this is yet another tool that we have in our toolbox to change behaviors and to make sure that ASD is positioned as a very safe school for all of our families to attend. We want to make sure parents have that confidence. And some of that conversation happened at Cassoon on my first day of school. Let's go ahead and move on. So the next place I visited was, this is also Cassoon, and in addition to the security and safety, I wanted to go into specific classrooms because I'm really proud of our teachers and our families because we put a lot of hard work into reading. And it's not lost on me that for 2 years in a row, our first graders have seen growth from their kindergarten year. Last year, we reported a 10% growth based off of our M-Class Dibbles data. And this year, we saw an 11% gain. So that's two classes of students that have been positively impacted because of the hard work of teachers like the one in this photo. And by the way, when we make class engaging by dressing up like Minnie Mouse or other characters every now and then, it really takes us a little bit farther and makes that first day all the more special. So I want to thank our educators at Cassoon Elementary. Just a few more schools. I then went to Baxter Elementary. And I want to park on this photo for a moment because it's a very this was a very this is a really tough conversation that I had with the principal. One, I love our new principal at Baxter Elementary. As you know, this is Principal Sherry Galloway, who I was really blessed to recruit into Baxter. She was previously, on the south side of town, and she really is coming back home and supporting a community that's near and dear to her heart. It's her neighborhood. And I'm very proud that we have one of our most experienced principals in the district leading a school that I think needs a lot of help. Based off of the data and based off of the community needs, we need to make sure that there are great resources and great leaders and educators in a school like Baxter. So it was really a blessing to walk through the halls of Miss Galloway and her talking through everything she's seeing. And one of the things, the elephant in the room, is that Baxter Elementary is actually one of the sites where Nunaka Valley was consolidated into. So there are dozens of students in this building that previously attended a different elementary school. So think about it through the perspective of Miss Galloway and her teachers. We know that students are entering our community and they may not know who their teachers are. They may be concerned that their drive to school is a little farther. This is a really tough time. And that said, we realized when we started this journey 3 years ago, when we made the difficult decision to close Abbott Loop, that you can recognize the legacy and history that makes our neighborhood schools great. But you can also realize that by making changes, we can celebrate a memory. So this photo, let me get to what the photo is. This is a wall that celebrates the history of Nunaka Valley Elementary. And Miss Galloway is very proud to display this in her building because she doesn't want her students to forget about the wonderful memories at that school. She wants to make sure that the legacy and history of the school is alive for decades to come. So as we get more artifacts from Nunaka Valley, I'd love to add more to that wall. But we had a great discussion about how, through her lens as a leader, she knows that she needs to go above and beyond to make her students feel extra welcome in her school. And I'm really blessed that in the next photo, you'll see that I went to the cafeteria because I wanted to see how all of our students are acclimating to their environment, but especially our Nunaka Valley students. And I was really pleased to see that our Nunaka Valley kiddos have friends who were Baxter students the previous year. And they also have friends from Nunaka Valley that are with them today. And that's because when we made the decision to close Abbott Loop, we realized that we can adjust our portfolio of infrastructure, but keep our history and memories alive and also help students be more successful. It wasn't easy to make a decision to right size any building, but because of our decision, I think that we've set up Baxter for success for the years to come. I couldn't help but look at some of the data. So Baxter currently has 327 students enrolled as of yesterday. Last year they had 239, and previously their low watermark was about 205 students. And the thing about enrollment is that when you have a PTR system like we have, lowering enrollment means that over time, some of your highest need schools will have less and less resources. So a school like Baxter might have lost teachers over the years. They might have lost an elective. But now that we've restored their enrollment, we're able to offer more resources to students that need it the most. So as difficult as it was to go through this process for multiple years, I'm so glad to see that our Nunaka Valley students are getting acclimated. And it's not a coincidence. Remember that when we closed Abbott Loop, we wanted to just start with one school so we could make sure that we transitioned with compassion and with empathy. We wanted to make sure that our students visited their new school multiple times, even before they're a student. We wanted to make sure that the students know they know who their friends are that will be transitioning them to the school. We wanted nice handoffs between outgoing principal and new principal, and we were able to put in some other features too to make this as seamless as it possibly can when this is one of the most emotional things that can happen in a community. So I was really moved in a very positive way by what I saw at Nunaka Valley. This is one of our nutrition services staff members. There was no Cheez-Its at Baxter Elementary. It was Burger Day actually, and the burgers look pretty good. And I just thank the Baxter community and our New Naka Valley families for walking alongside of us during what was surely a very emotional time. And I'm glad that I spent quite a bit of time at Baxter. This transition is very important to me. So then on the flip side of it, I spent some time at ANCCS. And one of the things that stood out to me was this picture. As you walk in, you'll see that Mrs. Sweetser and her team have done a great job at making this facility their own. So when you walk in, you'll see in the picture, it says at the top, show respect to others. And that's because it's one of the 9 core values that are central to the mission of ANCCS. So I was really brightened to see that. And you can see other great values listed throughout that hallway that students see every single day on their way to school. And then let's go on to the next photo because I had a really special opportunity to greet the entire school. You can't see what this room is. It's the cafeteria. It's a very large facility, and we're talking about the formerly Lake Hood facility. ANCCS is larger than it's ever been, and I was blessed to see that all of those students fit very well in that cafeteria. So now Mrs. Sweetser every day can do morning assemblies where, for what I witnessed, was 30 minutes of students feeling welcomed, feeling a sense of belonging, feeling a sense of cultural responsiveness, and really feeling seen and heard by their teachers. So it was a really powerful moment. The least interesting part was me welcoming them to the space. The most important parts were when their families and their teachers spent the time to really connect what they're learning to their culture and values and mission of that school. It was a really powerful thing. And there was a time not too long ago when these students were in a hallway in East High School. So to see how far they've come, thriving in this big school, larger than they've ever been before, the world's their oyster. They have room for even many more students as we continue to get the word out and think about ways to make transportation to our choice programs more accessible, which is a huge work in progress. And I just want to briefly talk about this photo. It's kind of fun. I was in a trust circle with our students. And before I forget to mention this, so you'll see that I'm outside the circle, but about 2 minutes after this photo was taken, they rearranged the tables and invited me in the circle because every single one of us needed to reflect on our summers and how important family is to us and how it makes us stronger and better learners. So it was nice joining the circle right alongside Mrs. Sweetser, who makes this a practice in every single classroom to make sure our students in the school feel a sense of belonging in a school that's really designed to elevate the importance of their culture, not just within Anchorage, but within this entire country. Really beautiful thing. So then I had to make it out to Eagle River, and this is great. It was a pleasure to drive all the way out to Eagle River, and I wanted to personally shake the hand of Mr. Helvey. He's in the next photo that we can look at, because you may not know this if you're listening online, but Eagle River is one of our top performing advanced placement schools, so they consistently get a national recognition known as the AP Honor Roll. So I looked at some data with our principal, and I want to share it with the community. Basically getting the AP honor roll means that most of your AP students pass the exam. So last year, a year ago, back in 2024, 76% of advanced placement students at Eagle River pass their exam, 76%. So 7 in 10 students in AP, they're passing their test. That is phenomenal. Most schools would think, being in the teens is a big win, and that is, but 76 is phenomenal. But here's the kicker. That was 2024. So in 2024, it was 76%, 2025, 89%. That's huge growth. That means 89% of the AP kids at Eagle River are getting AP credit. Why is that important? Because every AP exam that you pass is literally the equivalent of a college credit. So if you're an ASD and your high school has dozens of AP classes, you can literally earn the equivalent of an associate's degree for free in the Anchorage School District. And at Eagle River High School, those kids have what it takes to do it. And it's not just at Eagle River. I brought this up because I was curious about data for AP in general. And since I think 4 years ago, AP enrollment, since 2022, AP enrollment has increased by 750 students in ASD. 750 more students are in advanced placement classes in the Anchorage School District than there were 3 years ago. And on top of that, many people would wonder, oh, were those just the, high flyer students with parents that really want them to be in college prep courses? I'm sure there's some of that, but you'd also be pleased to know that there was a 42% increase amongst our economically disadvantaged and students of color. That's phenomenal. That's hundreds of more students that are on track as a result of the leadership of our team and the courage of our parents and students to push themselves to thrive in AP. So the sky's the limit when it comes to AP. So then I'll just quickly mention that I was at Greening. And it was nice because this reminded me why it was so important that we offered the opportunity for sixth graders to be in a middle school environment. This is actually a career and technical education lab that is now an opportunity that's unlocked for our sixth graders. So, 3 years ago, if you were in an elementary school that served sixth grade, being in a hands-on class like this, and this gentleman has been teaching CTE for, I think, over 15, if not 20 years. He's one of our most experienced educators in the district. And I probably spent 40 minutes with this gentleman learning everything there is to know about all the different tools in his shop. Um, and our sixth graders are so lucky to have access to this class, as well as everybody else at Greening, who's blessed to be in the presence of that gentleman. So really great visit. And it really ignited to me the importance of things like King Tech High School. That's where I went to next, because it really brought to life to me what this is all about. It's about college and career opportunity. And a lot of people, a lot of parents I talk to, they love King Tech in theory, but they do worry about their student being kind of tracked into a profession, and maybe that's not that's the profession for them. What if they change their mind? So I was really pleased that in this photo, you'll see a lot of students touring one of the, it was a more, I forget what type of facility it was exactly, but it's a CTE class. But the point is that those students in the photo, they're actually not enrolled in that class. They're just engaging in a tour of different pathways that is not their class. So it's really cool. It's a very low pressure way to learn about different careers and pathways that they wouldn't know otherwise. So if you're thinking about a school like King Tech, but you're worried that your student will be exposed to a lot of different things, our wonderful new principal, Principal Edwards, has really designed the flow of the program well, to where that's not an issue, and those kids are having a wonderful experience. Um, and then before I move on to West High School, I do want to remind the community that CTE is really important because the data is clear. Students that complete a core set of CTE classes, they graduate at rates of 94%. The district's graduation rate is about 80%. So it's very interesting that students that commit to completing a career and technical education sequence really find their footing and graduate at a very significantly higher rate than some other students. So that dovetailed with the advanced placement means that we're in a very good position for our career and life readiness goal and college goal. So then we start to West High School, and this is where I'll close. We talked a little bit about staggered starts. That's what I wanted to see in person too. So you'll see in this photo, it's our freshmen getting the VIP treatment. Here's the thing that I want to share with the community from my perspective as somebody that taught ninth grade students. It is a tough time for a student. They're 14 years old. You have your sweet 16s around the corner. You're going through a lot of changes. And it shocks kids that when you're in high school, it's for real. It's game on. We're talking college transcripts. We're talking credits. We're talking about all sorts of things that were not exposed to them before. So it's really nice to take ninth graders who don't have any sort of, I guess, point of reference for what's about to happen and be welcomed like a VIP by their cheerleaders and welcoming teachers who really made them feel like the rock stars of the day. Because the thing is that when it comes to high school, you have to start slow to go far. If you're stressed out about how to use like a locker, or if you're stressed out about, how to go to more classes than you had in middle school, it can stress you out and hold you back from engaging in the learning. And I'm really pleased to see that when I was in a high school on the second day of school for ninth graders, they were already in high gear learning based off of what I saw. So it was really neat. This is one of those ninth graders. I mean, this is kind of where it's all at. Really proud of this ninth grader who felt welcome at the school. Shortly after this photo was taken, I got to see an assembly led by our wonderful team at West High School. And then shortly after that, I visited our sixth graders at Romig Middle School just to see, is this staggered start adding value? And I would say from the qualitative perspective, yes. But I also am very curious that last year's ninth graders, 5 points more of them are on track to graduate than the year before. So, for those of you that are not tracking this, the school board created a goal on graduation rates, and then I, in response, created an interim goal to measure the percent of ninth graders that are on track to graduate from high school, the percent of 10th and 11th graders that are on track to graduate. So, it's very interesting when we started launching, doubling down on CTE and advanced placement and all these other great things that we have going on, including staggered starts, that on track to graduation rates for ninth graders increased 5 points. If we keep up that momentum, that means that our graduation rates for 12th graders can increase by 5 points. And I've done the math. We're not talking about a lot of kids when it comes from going to 81% to 90%. It's just hundreds of students. So if we can really tackle these students on the margin, us getting to 90% graduation rate is within reach. It's within reach of even some of our turns on this dais. It's so close. We just have to keep our eyes laser focused on the high impact things that are moving the needle. So we can debate whether or not it was staggered starts or it was academies or it was AP or just great teachers. But 5 points is significant, and I'm very proud of our freshman teachers. As a former one, it's not easy, it's God's work, but our kids are doing great. So, with that said, I think I shared everything that was on my heart and mind. I'm really proud of our staff. I'm really proud of our community. We did have a strong start to school, but here's the bottom line, it's not a coincidence. The reason why this stuff is happening is because we have a community that adores our public schools, whatever it looks like, whether it's a correspondence school, whether it's a neighborhood school, whether it's a charter school. And our community members, through our school board members, have high expectations for the quality of public education in Alaska. And here in ASD, we're living up to that expectation. So let's keep up the great work, team. I'm so proud and blessed to be here for my first day of school with you guys.